Hello, and a big welcome everyone to this week's episode of the podcast. I am very excited that you guys are here. And I just wanted to say before we get into the topic today, just a massive thank you to everyone who listens to this podcast. I know we recently had a couple of coffee mornings and I got to meet some of you guys face to face, which was really lovely. And we've done a bunch of events over the years. We're hoping to do some more as well. And it's just so nice when people say, oh, I listen to your podcast and I really enjoy it. I sit at the bench and, it helps me with my making, or it helps me while I'm doing the admin on my business in the background. So it's so nice when you guys say stuff like that. I really appreciate it, because I love doing the podcast. It's not something that I would ever question about doing, but it does help with momentum and motivation. I guess for you it might be a bit like a customer just saying how much they appreciate something you've made. It's such a nice feeling. And even on Instagram, when you guys drop me a message and just say, I really enjoyed listening to a certain episode, or I enjoy listening in general, it really means a lot to me. So I just wanted to say thank you. And even if you're silent, there's kind of silent community members, which I think I might be in some places quite introverted and not always commenting or sharing or whatever. Even if you just kind of listening in the background and appreciating all the stories from the jewelers and all the challenges and all the fun things that we do together. Thank you. You are a really valued part of the community as well. It's just wonderful that over the years we've managed to come together, and it's been really nice doing these in-person events because means I get to see you, and that you get to see some of the other tutors and the mentors as well. We have a few more coming up. We've done the London one. We've got a couple coming up throughout the year, and we're hoping to do some more as well. The feedback was definitely that people would like more, because it's so nice to get together in person, and it can be a lonely job. Being a jewelry maker, and I think sometimes we like that. We like the fact that we can do it on our own, and there's not the pressure of perhaps an office environment 9 to 5 every day. But at the same time, we do need connection and we do need support and just that energy, I think. And I'm hoping that's what the podcast does for some of you, is just give you some energy when you're on your own to sort of be like, yes, there's other people doing this and they're doing it in all these different creative, unique ways, and I can do it too. So yeah, wonderful to have you guys listening. And if there's anybody that who might value listening to the podcast, any friends, creatives, jewelers, feel free to share it. The more people that know, the better, because we like to spread the message and get even more kind of representation for the jewelers that we are sharing about. So today is a very exciting day. Every day is an exciting day here at Jewelers Academy, but today is very exciting because it is the final week for enrollment on all of our diploma programs for 2023. And I have been banging on about these diplomas for a while, so I'm excited that we can, do the final week and get ready for September, when all the students are going to be starting. So for anyone who doesn't know, we have 4 different jewelry diplomas, and I'm going to run through very briefly a little bit about each one today, in case you've been thinking about enrolling on one and it's deadline time, it's kind of now or never, crunch time and going for it. And in case you're sort of thinking, oh, I'm not sure if it's right for me, maybe I'll do it next year. These are the things that often people say, which sometimes that is the right thing, but often it's fear or money or something holding us back, that we really hope those things don't hold you back, at least not unnecessarily. And so I'm going to share a little bit about it. We also have a couple of group discovery calls. So this is for anyone who's thinking about doing a diploma, perhaps not sure, wants to find out a bit more about it, ask some questions perhaps. So we have one of those for the silver diploma on Thursday, the 1st of June, and one for the fine diploma on Friday, the 2nd of June. So I'll put the link to those in the show notes, as well as the links to sign up to all of the diplomas individually. So the 2nd of June is the final day. It's midnight that night when the diplomas close. They all start in September, a week or so after the schools go back. And very roughly, they follow the school terms. They are quite intense programs. So for all of the diplomas, we recommend putting aside around 7 hours a week to work on them, but it's totally flexible when you do that. We have lots of people, you would have heard some of the stories on the podcast of previous diploma students, but we have lots of people who are full-time at work, who are parents, who have little children. So it's a very flexible learning program, which is one of the things that I'm, very excited about in terms of the study, because at the London Jewellery School, which was the physical premises that we used to own before COVID, we ran diploma programs there and we had incredible students. But of course, it's not possible to travel to London for everyone every week to be able to train and study. So what's been really nice to see with these diplomas, and one of the reasons I'm very passionate about them, is how it's opened up access to education for so many more people. It's just wonderful to kind of see what they've done, and then those people have gone on to start and launch their own jewelry businesses, or perhaps they already had them and now they're growing and really thriving. And I think what a diploma does for someone is it focuses them on a dedicated course of study. So of course, with the internet nowadays, you can learn pretty much anything if you put your mind to it and search and hunt high and low and experiment, and there's nothing wrong with that way of learning, but it is a lot slower and it's a lot less focused. And I find that a lot of jewelers lose momentum, especially with their business, if they feel like they're not getting anywhere quickly. Jewelry businesses take a long time to build. I would say between 3 and 10 years. 3 years is usually to turn a profit. About the 10-year mark is when I see most jewelers have regular clients coming back. They almost don't need to do much marketing by that point because they've built up this customer base. So it's a long journey, and then you might be doing it for another 30 or 40 years after that if this is your career. So I always think, give yourself the training, give yourself the support. And I very much live that message. When I started making jewelry, I did every class I could find, and I signed up to, there weren't diplomas like this, I would have signed up to them for sure, but I signed up to long programs that were quite far away. I put everything that I had into it, and it definitely paid off for me, because that training, that investment in myself, I never knew that I would end up here. I never knew that I would be teaching. I thought I was going to have my own jewelry brand, and I did for a while. I thought that was going to be kind of my path to growth. But I ended up having a jewelry school, and now I end up having an online jewelry school, which back in those days wasn't a thing. So you never know where it's going to take you. But had I not done that initial training, had I not kind of gone all in and invested, I wouldn't have had the skills to kind of progress along the journey that I have. So I never feel bad about encouraging people to invest in themselves, because I just know that it's never a bad decision. If you want to invest in your jewelry training specifically, then the diplomas are kind of really set up for that for you. And I always ask people who are thinking about joining a program like this, what are your goals with your skills? What do you want to improve? And where do you want to be a year from now? And always trying to align your training with your goals. I mean, you may not have goals, you may not know what you want, and that's fine as well. I know when I first started, I just knew I wanted this to be my career, but I had no idea really what that was going to look like. And that was fine, to be open-minded, to allow yourself to develop and grow. But I definitely knew that I was going to follow this path. And I think for anyone else who feels like this is what they want, don't worry too much about how you're going to make it all happen. I would say just go for it and trust that it will all kind of fall into place. It's scary. It's like jumping off a cliff. You feel like, well, and I think it's harder the older you get. I was lucky I did this very young. So I had naivety on my side. I didn't really know what I was doing when I jumped in head first. But I think that, you can do it at any age. We've had diploma students come to us at 65, older than that, 70, and start a new career kind of in their retirement, and have loved it and thought, why didn't I do this sooner? So I think that there's no barriers that you can't get over if it's something that you're passionate about. So there's my little thoughts on training in general, investing in yourself. I'm sure if you listen a lot, you'll have heard similar things before, but it's always worth mentioning. And I invest in my training every year, and a lot more than these diploma programs. This year I've signed up to a program that cost more than £20,000 to invest in my own training. And it sounds crazy. It sounds like, what you could buy, there's so many things you could buy with that are, could seem like they are more important, but actually my training is what I can give, is what I can pass on. And having that energy put into me, having those skills, having that mentorship means that we're able to create something that I think is really amazing and valuable for so many people all over the world. And the same with your businesses. And it doesn't need to be millions of people. It can be, most of you will have a customer base of around 100 people that regularly kind of come back and buy jewelry from you over the years. But the impact you have on their lives is huge, and their friends and their family and the people that they gift things to, and engagement rings, wedding rings, all these really meaningful purchases, you are a part of those stories and those journeys. And it's only by investing in yourself that you have that to give, that you're able to kind of pass it forward. So yeah, I could definitely talk about this all day. This was not what I was planning to talk about today. I was going to do a run through of the diplomas, which I will get to now, but very passionate about just investing in yourself, and most importantly, not letting fear get in the way. And money can be very tied up with fear, I find. Like before I made this investment on myself, I was like, that's a lot of money. What if I don't make it back? Do I even have it? All these kind of thoughts go through your mind. But I think in your gut when something's right for you, and almost the logical side of things doesn't matter at that point. It's like, this is what I want. This is, what my future is going to be about. Even if it's not your full-time job, but this is part of my future. This is part of who I am. We only get one of these lives, as far as we know. So, go all in with whatever it is that you're passionate about, whether that's jewelry or something entirely different. I think we very rarely regret going for things, but missing out on things, especially if it's to do with kind of fear or those kind of limiting beliefs, limiting kind of emotions holding us back, that can be very challenging. So with that said, let's have a quick run through of the diplomas. So the first one is our intro diploma, although when I say that, it's not easy. It's a very intense program. And in fact, we had just this diploma for many years, and it's a really thorough course of study. So this is the diploma in silver jewelry. It's 1 year, and you do a lot of stuff in that year. It's very commercially focused. So we're teaching you how to make things that you can sell, which is something that's really important, I think. Not that everything you make should be for sale, but that you're learning skills and things that customers are going to demand from you, so that when you're out there in the world as a jeweler, you have those skills. So you will learn to make wedding rings, you will learn to make engagement rings, you will work with soldering, the fundamental skills, bench skills of, we start you off right at the beginning. So if you have never made any jewelry before, you can do this diploma. But we also have quite a few people on this diploma who have been making jewelry for a while, and have done, a lot of them have done like an evening silversmithing class, or kind of local community college classes, or a couple of one-day classes, and they know how to make jewelry. They can solder, they can saw, perhaps even some stone setting, but they haven't had a thorough year of training, and they've not kind of taken it further. And I think if you're not sure, a lot of people say, I'm not sure about whether I should do the silver or the fine. In most cases, I would say do the silver, because it's a lot more challenging than it looks. And we do take you through it. But the fine diploma, which is year 2, which I'll come on to in just a moment, is pretty challenging. So it's made to go after the silver. So it's made after a full year of quite intense study of silver. So it's a perfect follow-on. So if you're on the silver diploma now and considering the fine, you don't need to worry about your skills. We will take you there. That is our job. Our job is to guide you through and incrementally add on difficulty levels step by step, so that you're not ever going from 0 to 100 in one go. May sometimes feel like that, but you're not. We're just here to challenge you, not totally overwhelm you. At least that's our goal. So the silver is great for people new to silver jewelry making, but also people who've been doing it for a while and would really like some more thorough, in-depth training. So we start at the basics, those bench skills, sawing, filing, soldering, drilling, polishing. These things are gonna, if you can do these things well, you can make most jewelry out there. And actually the silver diploma is enough for professional training in silver jewelry. You do not need any more diplomas. We added more because we are obsessed with jewelry making and we want to do more stuff and do more stone setting and all of that. But a lot of people, that is their complete training. Although they do tend to come back because, you know, we keep showing them pictures of what they can make next. And, you know, if they're anything like me, we can't resist learning and developing and growing and just being creative and having fun with it all. So that first year, yeah, all those kind of commercial skills. You'll learn a bit about running a jewelry business, how to get started, how to work with customers and clients, how to price your work, how to work with commissions, because a lot of jewelers work with commissions as well as selling collections. So we kind of cover some of the business skills as well. You'll do a little bit of beading and metal clay. You'll do a little bit of silversmithing. So you make a trinket box, which is a bigger piece, a little bit bigger than jewelry. You'll work with hinges, cold connections, claw setting, lots of different stone settings. So all of the diplomas cover lots of different stone settings. Again, we work incrementally. So we start with things like cabochon settings, tube settings, flush settings, and then move on to like different types of claw setting, working with cast settings, and some lovely granulation, which is kind of like little tiny balls of silver, which creates this gorgeous kind of effect as well in jewelry. And we have wax carving as well. So in all of the diplomas, we include some wax projects because it is a wonderful way to make jewelry, and it's very different. And I often find it's quite divisive, the wax, actually. People are either obsessed with it and really go on a wax journey, and I love, you know, pieces that are made from wax. They just have such a amazing kind of creativity to them. Or some people are like, oh my goodness, the wax, it's just totally different to how my brain thinks. But I think that's what's really nice about the first year. It's almost like a foundation in all different types of jewelry making, so you get to explore, find what you really like, and you know, and most people from there will sort of, you know, do further training, but also develop a few of those skills and do some more of them. So that's the year one. And then, of course, you know, coming on to just looking at the tools and materials. When you're first starting with jewelry making, it can feel really intimidating to buy all the tools and all the materials for these projects. So we have put together tool and material kits, which have everything you need to work through these programs. And it's a lot. There's a lot of tools and there's a lot of materials because it's a whole year of jewelry making. So we have put those together for you, and you can purchase those either individually, or there are payment plans as well if you want to spread the cost out. There are also payment plans for all the diplomas. So we try to make it as affordable as possible to be able to access this kind of training. And I think we're so lucky with the tutors and the mentors we have on these courses. They originally came from London Jewelry School. So this was based in Hatton Garden in central London. And we honestly had access to the most amazing tutors, some of the most incredible jewelers and tutors in the world. And so I think what's so lovely is wherever you're based, you could be somewhere really remote where there's no way you would be able to access this kind of training, and you can have them on your computer in front of you telling you exactly what to do, with recorded videos, and there's lots of live content as well, so you can get feedback, ask questions, get support. You also have an individual mentor throughout the program, so you'll have somebody assigned to you to help you through the whole journey. So it's really a supported, and this is for all the diplomas, very, very supported. And if you're, you know, if you're not sure, come along to the group discovery calls. We're going to have some previous students on there as well, so they can tell you a bit about their experience, or I'm sure you'll be able to find some previous students on Instagram. Feel free to reach out to them. I'm sure they'll be happy to share how it's worked for them. So that's the diploma in silver jewelry, kind of in a nutshell. I have done some open days and things where it goes through it in more detail, but honestly, you don't need to know everything about it. I think the main thing that you need to know in order to sign up is, do you love jewelry making? Would you like to spend a year developing your making skills? And are you kind of a beginner, improver level jeweler? All of this you can do from home. It's set up so that you can, it's really accessible. Some of our students do have their own workshops, but most of them on the silver diploma don't, because often it's kind of early stage in the journey. So you can do it in the kitchen table. Some people do it in their bedrooms. Luckily with jewelry, you only need a small amount of space. So yeah, that is absolutely something that you can work around as well. But like I said, come along to the group discovery call if you're thinking, oh, maybe I'm not sure about this. I'd like to ask a specific question or hear what other people are asking, because I can share a bit more about it then. And have a look on the sign up page, because there's lots of images of what you could make, what previous students have made. We're very proud of their work. And loads of our students go on to do amazing things, start their own shops or galleries, selling their work, selling other shops and galleries, open their own Etsy store or websites. Some of our students have gone on to win awards for their jewelry designs. So it could really take you anywhere. Some people have gone on to do teaching. Yeah, the sky's the limit, as we say. So that's the silver diploma. Then the next year, so when people had finished that, they said, what can we do next? We want to learn more things, which I loved. I love that. So that's when we created the diploma in fine jewelry. So this is another year-long program, and it follows on directly from the silver. So there's just more advanced skills in here. So we've got lots of stone setting. We look at collet setting. We look at claw setting, but in more detail, kind of making baskets from scratch and kind of different shapes, working with irregular shaped stones or different fancy cut stones. There are so many projects that I love on the diploma in fine jewelry. Again, we've kind of started with engagement ring making, but we move on to more complex type things like marquise setting, which is a certain type of stone. You'll make a ring with 7 stones in it. So whereas in the silver diploma, you start with 1, we start with the basics, although it's not that basic to even do a claw setting with 1 from scratch. But we move on to kind of lots of solder joins in one piece, working with some more intricate tools as well. Working a lot more with gold, because fine jewelry by definition is working with precious metals and precious stones. So we do encourage you to work more with gold and gemstones and kind of exploring those. As the gemstone masterclass as part of that program to learn more about the stones and how you can work with them. And there's more metalsmithing skills. You make a tennis bracelet, which is a really technical task to kind of push and challenge yourself. The list goes on. There's a locket, all sorts of lovely things. But I think something that excites me about this program is that by the end of it, you have this incredible portfolio of work. So whilst you may not make lots of tennis bracelets in your career, the fact that you've made one and you share it on Instagram or wherever your socials are, you can share it with your email newsletter or on your website or wherever, people can see your technical skill. And they will start ordering from you because they'll say, wow, you can make that. I want you to make a gift for, my birthday, or I want you to make a pair of earrings. So it's not necessarily that they're going to commission you to make the same thing, but unless you show people what you're capable of, even if people want to buy from you, they might think, well, I don't know what kind of things you make. I don't know what your skill level is. If they're not jewelers, they often have no idea what goes on in the process, how to do it, what's involved. And so it can be quite challenging for customers to work out what they want. But when you show them something that you've made and the skill and the level that's involved, then they start to get inspired and think, oh, I like that, but I'd like it with different colors, or instead of a bracelet, I'd like a pendant version, or, could you add that to this, so on and so forth. So I love that students come out of these programs with this whole portfolio of work. We haven't talked about the marking yet, but you send your work to us at the warehouse here in London, UK, 3 times a year, and we send it off to your mentors, and the work is marked. So they see your work, they look at it, they give you feedback. And the marking it's a really kind of friendly approach that we have. It's very much about encouraging you to grow and learn. It's not about criticism or perfectionism. We all have enough of that going on in our own heads. So it's all about kind of saying, oh, these are things that worked really well. these are the things that you can improve on next time if you're going to make a similar piece again. And you may already know what they are, but sometimes it helps to have that conversation and sort of be like, oh, okay, yes, this is how I could have done it a little bit differently. It's really to help push you, encourage you, and help you grow as a jeweler in your technical skills. And we've all been there, you know, so we're not preaching from a place of, you know, we've got everything perfect, but every jeweler was a beginner once. And so the jewelers that we work with, the people we have on our team, are really passionate about supporting the new generation of jewelers and people to learn those skills, to pass them on. And we learn from you guys as well, as we were talking about in the podcast the other week with Kim, who's one of our mentors on the diploma. We learn just as much from mentoring students as they learn from us, because there's always different ways to do things. There's always different little mistakes that come up and how to fix them, troubleshooting. So it's a really lovely kind of exchange that we go through throughout the program. And I think one of the things that's really lovely as well is the community. You know, this is what we're all about at Jewelers Academy. Yes, we love the making, and we love just kind of cracking on with it and the business and all of that, but none of it really works without that community aspect of knowing that if things go wrong, you have somewhere to share, where you're not going to be judged, and we all understand. I saw on the other day in one of the diploma Facebook groups, someone had lost like a tiny stone. It had fallen in the workshop, and we've all been there. We're just like, oh my goodness, it's going to take me so long to find this, if I ever even do. Or, you know, things at the last minute, one of the claws breaks off something that you've worked on for 3 days. It's just infuriating. So I think it's so important to have somewhere to go to talk about those things, to get them off your chest, and then, you know, deep breath, take a break and move on. We can kind of start again and learn from all of those mistakes. We say in the diplomas and in our community, we say, if you're not making at least one mistake a week, you're not doing it right. So it's not about, you know, getting everything right. We're going to learn so much more from those mistakes than you will just doing something perfect every single time. So that's the FINE diploma, and they're both run in a very similar way. And in terms of community, you're put into a small group, and they will be your buddies throughout the course of the year. And every fortnight you'll get together on Zoom and just chat about how you're getting on with the diploma. There'll be a mentor on the call. There's also a host, which is another person from our team who's there to kind of talk through things with you. And you can ask questions, you can get support, you can, you know, share. And these have been so invaluable to people, I think, these small community groups where you really feel part of something. And again, you can share what's going right, what's going wrong, thoughts about what you're going to do next. It's a safe space to kind of feel connected to other jewelers, other people who understand that the struggle is sometimes real. So we have those on all the diploma programs, as well as that kind of one-to-one mentoring. Then the final kind of series, I suppose, there is another diploma I'll talk about in a moment, which is a brand new one for this year, but it's a little bit different. So the final one, you've got diploma in silver, FINE Jewelry Diploma, and then the Advanced Jewelry Diploma. So this is year 3, and in a way you could see it as replacing like a degree course of study. It's very different to a degree. It's not academic, it's very practical. A lot of people who do these programs have already done degrees, so they're not really looking to do loads of essays and tick lots of boxes. And in fact, we were approached by a university a while ago to be accredited through them. But the number of things we would have to compromise on and change and do that actually would not be helpful to our students made it very clear in my mind that these qualifications are so much more valuable being independent, because we can just get to the making and really get to the core of the things that are working in the industry at the moment, the techniques that people are demanding, and the skills that you will need to have a successful jewelry business. So I'm very passionate about making sure that you're spending all this time learning, making sure that it's going to be something that you can use in your business and is going to be really valuable. So year 3, they've all got 3 terms in them. They follow roughly the school year here in the UK. So you get holidays, you get breaks, and you also have catch-up weeks at the end of each term, because we know that life happens, and sometimes you're unwell, your child's unwell, you've got a holiday booked. Hopefully it's more of the fun stuff than the not fun stuff, but there's a lot of time to kind of catch up on things, because we know what it's like with deadlines, not always easy. So year 3, we just keep going. We keep going, and it's a lot more technical skills. So we've got lots more stone setting, so working with smaller stones usually, and more intricate things, so things like pave setting, microcore setting. You've also got halo settings, which is combination settings. So really making a lot more kind of high-end fine jewelry commission pieces in this course. There's also parts of this program taught by Master Goldsmith and Master Stone Setter Scott McIntyre, who is an incredible stone setting tutor, as well as lots of our lovely tutors who teach on a lot of the programs, such as Hayley Kruger, who's been a bench jeweler for more than 20 years, has won awards for her work. It's just such a wonderful person as well, wonderful tutor, because you can have amazing jewelers. They're not always amazing tutors, but we're very lucky with the people that we have, that they are both, that they want to pass that information and knowledge on, and able to do it in an accessible way. Stelios Karantonis teaches on our programs as well, an incredible Greek jeweler who loads of people love Stelios. He just has a very calming voice in the videos as well, and some nice mantras. He's very passionate about working with metal, and learning those basic techniques and how they can get you really far in your jewelry making journey. We've had him on the podcast as well. We have another episode coming up with him in just a little while. Sneak preview of that. So yeah, Barbara Yard, another incredible tutor of ours, and Nelia Caprina is just incredibly technical, fine jeweler. She's teaching on the advanced diploma as well. Some really fun projects. We do some cluster earrings. So a lot of what's done in the advanced diploma I'm talking about now with the cluster earrings, a lot of what's done in the advanced diploma is bringing together things that you've learned already, but piling them on top of each other. So what if you want to make a piece that's got multiple core settings and granulation, and working with gold and working with silver and a little bit more technical, how we can put all those together? Because I found, and all of these programs I made because they were things that I wanted to learn, and in the order that I wanted to learn it. So once I had learned to do all these different settings and all these different skills, I was like, but what order, and how do I put it together on a much more complex piece? If I'm doing sort of 5 or 6 different techniques on one piece, I kind of know the ingredients, but it's still quite challenging to think how to put it all together. So that we cover quite a lot of that. We have Michelle Lier teaching filigree in gold on the advanced diploma as well. And she is another incredible jeweler. We flew her over from the States. She came and stayed with us for a week or so. She's an absolutely wonderful person, wonderful jeweler, very inspiring to be around. And she just teaches so many incredible things that are useful for filigree, but also useful for all types of working with metal, because again, she's someone very passionate about working with the materials and design and how we can get inspired and what we can do with it. So it's very hard for me to describe all the diplomas in one go, because it's just so much in each one to be passionate about. But hopefully you're getting a kind of a gist of it, and hopefully you've heard about them before, so this is more of a refresh and a little recap on the kind of things that you could learn. But honestly, no matter where you are in the world, even if you can't get access to the tools and materials, we will send them to you. That's what we're here for. We try to make it as easy as possible for anyone to join up. Like I said, there's payment plans, so if cost is an issue, a lot of our students sell their work as they go to pay for the next month of payment plans. So even if you feel like you don't have the funds for it, I was speaking with Alice Kant last night, or the night before, might have been, in the diploma Facebook group, in the Jewelers Academy Facebook group, about her experience on the diploma. She was saying she didn't have the money to do it. She signed up, and then each month she was just selling enough. And she was saying some months she sold more, some months she sold less, but on average enough to cover that payment plan. Because remember, what you're making is of value. So you can sell stuff. It's, you know, it's not just a cost. And I think that's really can be a really lovely way to do it. It's a little bit, feels a little bit more risky, but depends on your attitude to risk. I have quite a high attitude to risk as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. I think that that's kind of part of the job description, is kind of going for it and being like, look, if this doesn't work, we'll figure it out. And I think sometimes that gives you that fire in your belly to kind of be like, right, I've invested in something now, I need to make this work. That's definitely how it works for me anyway. But obviously, you know, assess your circumstance, because we don't want people to be stressed or, you know, in a really difficult kind of financial situation. But if you are thinking of doing a diploma and money is the main kind of restriction, please come and speak to us, because, you know, there's payment plans, there's options, there's things that we can do sometimes in special circumstances. So we really want to make sure that that's not what's stopping you. So they're the three kind of, you know, core diplomas that we created, and they will take you very far. There's, you know, pretty much every type of jewelry making that I can imagine is going to be covered in terms of silversmithing, silver, traditional metal smithing work is going to be covered at some point in those. But we have a brand new diploma, which again, I've talked about quite a bit, so hopefully you know about it already. And I'm very excited about this one. It's something I'm very passionate about personally. It's a wonderful way of making jewelry. So this is the diploma in silver metal clay. And I started with traditional silver work, but very quickly I moved into metal clay, and then I came back. So I just love this type of jewelry making. It's such a different way to make jewelry. For me, it's very calming. It's very accessible. There are less tools to invest in. It's great for people who have dexterity issues, or they struggle with their hands or their eyes with traditional silver work, because it is a little bit softer on the hands. So it is a really beautiful way of working with silver jewelry. So this again is another 1-year program. I will put the link so that you can kind of find out more about it. We have some incredible tutors on this program delivering masterclasses towards the end. So you will start with the basics, so you can take this program if you are new to metal clay, but also if you've been making metal clay for a while and you just enjoy it and you love it and you want to do some more, come do it with us, because, you know, what have you got to lose? This is the only 1-year diploma in silver metal clay that exists. This is one of the most in-depth and thorough trainings that you can have in this technique. And we're really lucky to have the whole kind of metal clay community on board, because we're working with Petra, who is the founder of Metal Clay Limited, who is the main supplier of metal clay and metal clay tools in the UK. We also have lots of incredible tutors, such as Julia Ray, who is one of the world's greatest silver metal clay artists. She was the first person to be awarded the Masters Registry, which is a really kind of, it doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but it was a really kind of intense self-study program for metal clay artists. We have Joy Funnel, who is another wonderful metal clay tutor, very passionate about the subject and works a lot with enameling and adding color in metal clay. Anna Maison, who creates these beautiful, really intricate pieces, kind of sculptural work in metal clay. Tracy Spurgeon, who has her own jewelry school as well, and teaches quite a lot of kind of construction-based projects. She's doing a really cool masterclass for us. Anna Campbell, our very own Anna Campbell, teaches a lot of the classes, as well as myself. So it's a really, really lovely program. And I think, you know, the best I could say is go check it out, look at the images, look at the trailers, look at the videos, because you'll see then the kind of things that you're going to make, and the support, the marking, all of that. It's the same across all of the programs. So, you know, hopefully I've given you a good idea of what you can expect. And I think the biggest challenges people normally say are money, which we've talked about already, time. And time, you know, I remember saying to someone the other day, like, how do you have enough time to do the diploma? And they just said, I make time. And I think that's so true. Like, we never have enough time. We're never going to have enough time in life, most of us, to do all the things that we want to do. But it's just prioritizing and saying, do you know what? I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to find the time. And maybe it will feel like a lot, and maybe it won't. Maybe you'll want to make for much more than 7 hours a week. But I really encourage you to, get the support and get the structure. That's, I think, something that we offer in these programs, and that accountability, that we're checking in with you. We're seeing how you're doing. We want to, we're not going to let you get away with just not doing stuff. We're here. It's much more than the kind of an online study program. It's a very immersive kind of experience. So we're here to kind of support you along that journey if it's something that you want to do. And if you've listened this far, then I'd say it's probably something that you want to do. And, don't feel bad about that. Don't feel guilty. If it's your life. If you want this, then go for it. What's the worst that could happen? So I always think, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah, so I think that's kind of everything that I wanted to share with you guys today. But like I said, the deadline is this Friday, the 2nd of June. After that, it is closed because we need to get ready for September. We got stuff to do. And I know a lot of you have signed up already, so hopefully you're excited. I can't wait. We've got toolkits to get out to everyone as well. So make sure if you want any toolkits, or if you've signed up but you haven't got a toolkit yet, make sure you order those, because we'll be closing access to those on the 2nd of June too. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what everybody makes, and even more exciting than seeing what they make, seeing where their journey takes them, in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years. What will this have led to? Because I've been so lucky throughout my journey, as a tutor at London Jewelry School and now Jewelers Academy, to see some people are like 5-10 years on with us, and the progress that they've made, and the businesses that they're running now, and the clients that they're supporting, and the awards that they've won, and all these things are just, it's so wonderful to be part of that journey. So thank you if you are one of those people, and like I said, thank you if you're any part of our community, and if you're listening to this, you are included. So yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate you all. Looking forward to seeing some of you on the diplomas. If not, we're still here. We're still going to be podcasting. The world will not end on the 2nd of June. I don't think so anyway. And there's always going to be lots of fun things that we're going to be working on together. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye for now.